How's it going, guys? So this week on the PhantomCave YouTube channel, we're going to be talking about, and this is the latest episode of the My Collections series. The My Collection series we started back, I think, last year or the year before, and currently right now we are up to episode 18. So I hope you've been enjoying this series. We've got some good comics to look at, some great comics, in fact, and let's get into it. So the first comic we're going to be having a look at is The Butterfly Man. Then we've got Guren's Secret, Black Dagger, Part 1 and Part 2, and let's get into it. So today's story, first story we've got for you today is The Butterfly Man. It's also got Heart of Darkness, Chapter 4, Part 3. Okay, so Butterfly Man. I don't actually remember much of this story. Like, I bought this comic in 2018, early 2018, and quite frankly, I'll talk about the cover first. Quite frankly, I don't really remember much of the story, but I do remember there had been a conversation on, I think, Instagram or something, and there was about this cover, and that was a long, long time ago. It was like 3 or 4 years ago. And they were talking about how they did not like Glenn Ford's cover. Now, this is a Glenn Ford cover, and what I think of it is that it's probably not one of his best ones, but it's a cover, and we actually appreciate what he's done for the Phantom throughout his career as an artist, as a publisher, an editor, and all that sort of stuff. We'll go through the story right now. And like I said, the cover, like, if you've got someone that's been working on the Phantom for quite a while, this is the same with Antonio Lemos, one of my absolute favourite artists. Is you've got someone that is working on the Phantom, has been working on the Phantom for quite a while, which Glenn Ford has been, then you're nearly a legend in the business. You know what you're doing, and to come out and say someone's got that's a bad cover, if it's a bad cover, it will look and it will tell you that it's a bad cover. If it's not, it's going to be absolute amazing. Not saying that Glenn Ford's covers are bad, they're just a bit. Sometimes they can be a bit out there. Sometimes they're good. So what happens to look in this story is that there's some sort of guy that's there's some guy that is really enthusiastic with flowers, and I'm guessing the flower man is something to do with, say, drugs or something, or exporting drugs or something, and which happens a lot in the Phantom, and how he's able to stop that from entering the jungles, the Bengali jungles. And yeah, I reckon. Now, I have not read this story for a while, so if you would like to drop off on this video, you can if you want, but I have not read these comics for a long while, and we'll get on with it. So I'm pretty sure what happens in the end, I think the old man must die from a heart attack or something, and I think the Phantom must then visit. The Phantom must have to basically endure something. The Flower Man is at the mercy of another person, thinking that he might be able to stop him, and he lets the other man then lets the flowers go, and that eventually kills him because the Flower Man, I think, is so enthusiastic about flowers. or the Butterfly Man is so enthusiastic about butterflies, then he's just probably died of a heart attack. But anyways, we have Heart of Darkness, Chapter 4, Part 3, The Tawny Owl Inn. And again, because this was published in 2018, I would have only been around, and I would have been only reading the Phantom for not even that much. I wouldn't even been reading it for like barely 2 years. So yeah, and to see these Heart of Darkness chapters come out every once in a while back in those days, like even when I was like just starting out on my collecting, even when I was just starting out, I there would have been. So I obviously Chronicle Chamber did a post and to say what your first issue was. So my first issue was 1761, which was the regular issue of the Phantom's World special number, issue number 1, before they turned it into a 100-page issue special series. And because because I was like barely into the Phantom, I'd barely known for it about for 2 years. And so if you've got like a person that's just coming into the Phantom and hasn't got an introduction to the Phantom or hasn't had much of an experience with the Phantom, then how are you supposed? I get this. So are you supposed to know what's going on in the Heart of Darkness series? I get that people are a bit nah about it. I get that. But when I came into the Phantom, when I started reading the Phantom, I had little experience on what I was reading, what I was going through, and this Heart of Darkness series, I felt like I felt like this was just a normal comic, and this was just a normal comic to read, and I didn't actually. I don't even think I thought about it. Thought about thinking there was other parts to it. I didn't know, because if you've got someone like me that's just starting out on his Phantom collection and he barely does know anything about the Phantom, and you got this Heart of Darkness chapter, and you've just came into it, and you've just basically came into it when it's only probably 2 chapters in or 3 chapters in, you barely know what's happening. So back then, and I guess right now, I reckon the Heart of Darkness series, it could have been done better, but as always, what can you say? And what can you say? If it's done better, it's done better. If it's not, it's in the past. So in this story, we have Guren's secret. I'm pretty sure Guren has a secret to do with his evil brother. If you didn't know that Guren actually has an evil brother, his evil brother is actually called Zuran. So obviously, because this is a Samick Egmont story, and what I mean by that is Scandinavian sort of story. And I guess this evil brother of Guren is trying to be the tribe leader or something. Again, I haven't even read these comics for a long, long while, and I guess also with the Guren's evil brother, I think there must have been some sort of fight against a woman or something, or women. But yeah, since I'm reading this, and I guess Guren's father is also there, or elders, council elders. We don't actually know what's actually happening in the story because I haven't read it for a while. We just, because this series, just like to point out there, this series is to obviously look at my collection through the years, how it's grown through those years, and what comics were in that collection during those years, and to have a look at the artworks and the cover art and talk about relevant topics to do with the stories. Yeah. I don't really remember reading this story, but again, the Phantom must have to. I think Guran's brother gets banished from that from the story. I think Guran's brother actually gets banished from the tribe. Again, if you have this story, you've barely known what the Phantom is for the last year and a half, and you get into this, you know this, it's a good story, but you might think it's a good story, but then that brings up the question of if they that brings up the question if Guran and Guran's brother and this story could be a sequel to it. There could be a that brings up the question if this story that we're talking about right now could have a sequel, like could have a potential sequel where Zuran comes back, he's causing some destruction among tribes, or he's doing something else, or he's interacting with the Rhodian Empire or something, the Rhodian rebels or something. You could basically put Guren's evil brother, into any sort of story and make him come back and try and fight for, I think, the tribe leadership or something. So back in those days, we had few publications, first ever trade paperback. So if you'd like to buy this trade paperback, I think it may still be available. You can get it at www.phantomcomic.com.au. Now we'll move on to the two-part series called Black Dagger, and also has episode 5, Phantom by Gaslight. And I with this Phantom by Gaslight, I did a video on it like a couple of weeks ago to explain what it was, and this coming Saturday, I will be doing another What Is It video of the series. I'll be doing it on, I think it's next week or this week, I'll be doing it on Kid Phantom. And so all those issues have obviously came out in the last couple of years, and I would like to explain what the Kid Phantom is and how it has evolved over many years until it hasn't been published. I'm guessing this book is to do with past Phantoms, I'm guessing, but look at that artwork, so good. Usually you can tell when I love a story, or you can tell when I love a Phantom story, when it's got those real darkish scenes, and it's got those real darkish, shadowy scenes, and it's real blackness, and the Phantom just pops out with the whiteness and the detail in the Phantom. Look at that. Look at that. It's so good. I like this. I like these stories where you've got big shadowy events happening and you clearly don't know what's going to happen, and then it pops up, the Phantom pops up, and then it's something to do with the Chronicles and the past Phantoms. That is so good. I love it when those stories happen. So we've got Phantom by Gaslight, Tale of Three Continents. We talked about Phantom by Gaslight in the last couple of weeks, as I said. And to me, I've always loved this series. It's been one of my favourites. And as Thomas said in the comments on that video, it's spooky, mystery, and horror filled in a comic, and it's so good. Yes, I read people's comments, and thank you, Thomas, for commenting on that. It's so good. So again, we will have a look at the cover, and this year at Supernova, I actually got both covers and both parts signed by Jamie Johnson. He's a legend. He's a legend. And there it is right there. So in Black Dagger Part 2, I'm guessing this has something to do with an ancient legend. It continues from the first part, and the past Phantom is trying to work out how this legend has come about, and I do remember a lot of this story because when I was actually getting this story, I was actually on a I was actually going on a big holiday to America at this time when this story was actually coming out, and let me tell you, that trip was awesome. It was awesome. I get that. It was awesome. But these comic books, last 5 years, that few publications has been putting these sort of stories out, has been great. I've been loving it. I've been loving the stories I've been few publications have been putting out, and yeah, the favorite thing I like about stories is when, I know I said this earlier, but the favorite thing I like about stories is the dark, shadowy scenes. I love those stories, and past Phantom stories as well. They're good. So we have part 6 of the Phantom by Gaslight series, and yeah, a lot of turmoil's going on in the Phantom by Gaslight series. A lot of things are happening in this, and there's 3 main or 4 main villains in this story, which are, I think, the Laughing Jack or something. There's also early in this series, Jack Ripper makes an appearance, and that's why. And we also have a different Phantom in this. We have a different Phantom that's could be related to and is related to the Phantom in a way, and the current generation. And we also have Hellise. We have the female Phantom and the Kit Walker as well in it as well. So basically, this has, as I said, Julie Walker in it. Has Julie Walker, the previous Kit Walker, and another Phantom, costumed Phantom, that also has relatings and relations to the Kit Walker family. Yeah, so good. I love it. Look at that amazing splash page by Jason Paulos. So good. Now, I'm not going to worry about those bags and boards because basically they've been sold out for the last couple of years. And if you would like to subscribe to the Phantom Cave YouTube channel, I know it's been tough in these hard times with COVID. I know I've been struggling, a lot of people have been struggling around the world. And as always, keep Phantom Caving, and we'll see you next week with a new Phantom Cave video.